I'm Modesto.
He's in Modesto.
Modesto. All right, cool. I lived in Van Nuys for 6 years right out of high school.
I grew up in Orange County.
Did you? Sweet.
Yeah.
Back when the racetrack was still there.
I'm an Anaheim boy.
Back when the racetrack was still there in Orange County.
Back when the racetrack was still there.
Sweet. Good old days, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cruised Van Nuys Boulevard when you could still cruise Van Nuys Boulevard.
All right, let's see if we're live here.
I did the last graffiti in Modesto.
Right on.
Before they closed the street.
No offense, but the only part of California I miss is the beach and the ocean. The rest of it could fall off in the fucking ocean. I don't care.
Unfortunately, the ocean side is the part that we need to fall off in the ocean so we can have a new ocean side.
Right. somewhere right along Vegas.
Well, I figure about I-5 West.
Right. Exactly.
Or we need the Cascadia to go off so tsunami come up and wash away everything and leave the land clean.
There you go. About an 80-footer and just drop in and backwash and pull everything right out to sea. Hell yeah. I did go up to. I was up in. What the fuck was it? Is it Cascade? Way up north. Stayed there and then drove over into Yellowstone and whatnot. Dicked around up there for a week. That was actually pretty cool. We came across some pretty decent people up Northern California.
California is a very patriotic, conservative state, except for a few hellholes, and they cheat like crazy here.
Just like pretty much the metropolises are shitholes, and the rural outside areas are the good people. Same as everywhere else. Same here, same in Colorado. All of us on the west side of the state, we don't have a fucking say about nothing.
Yep.
Not a damn thing. It don't matter if you vote or not. And I hate saying that. I hate to say that, but it doesn't matter.
If you guys want to go, I don't know if you guys can, if you got phones or whatever, you can go to my Facebook page and tag people that you want to see this. It sucks right now. So Facebook is not allowing a whole lot of, now this is going to YouTube also, my YouTube page, and I'm probably going to start a new YouTube page just for this stuff. But right now,
I can share you to my YouTube page too.
There you go.
Link, whatever.
There you go. So, all right, guys, what do you think about the P. Diddy?
Oh, there we are. Oh, yeah. So what do we do? Share that and tag people? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can share it and then tag whoever you
want.
Can
I do an at everyone?
I'm sorry, what?
Can I do an at everyone?
Maybe. I don't know exactly. I think it's groups only on that, though.
I want to try it.
And I think, well, I need to open up my freaking thing here. See if I can edit it and go to.
So it is public, right? I'm sure.
So why do you have
It is public.
Sure, you got subtitles on yours. That's funny.
I do.
Yeah, some of them will have subtitles.
Is that a setting on my side?
No, it's it's something that Zoom and OBS does.
Oh.
So that means I can't cuss in Portuguese because they're gonna know. Is that what you're trying to tell?
I don't think anyone's gonna care. Not the people. Not the people that are gonna listen to us.
Not a boy, right?
New T-shirt.
Oh, you know what? Oh, dude, I got to show you mine. Look at this one.
Lion eats sheep. I like it. So Daryl, you're going to be taking over duties for CVP, right? You're going to be are you taking over the head spot, or are you just going to be like?
I'm the vice president.
Okay, so you're in Lou's old spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, what happened with CVP is that the entire committee except Lou left.
Yeah.
The board.
That sucks.
And so that left it, and all that did was leave him with a bunch of committee members.
Right.
Who, if you're lucky to get 10% of the committee members actually being involved in doing anything, you're lucky.
Right. So Jerry, just so you know, Daryl was a member of our 3UP group out in California, and I did a lot of stuff with another group called CVP, which is California Valley Patriots, which is the logo behind him.
Oh, V. I thought you were saying B like boys. Okay, V.
No, California.
Gotcha. I got you. Yeah. Now I see.
Valley Patriots. There you go. And
okay,
they're
how big are they? How big were they?
They were pretty
We were
prominent.
over 3,000 members when we got flushed in the Patriot Purge.
Yeah, and
Wow.
they do a lot of stuff. You know, different events.
Yeah, we did fire
that's bigger than our team.
When the fire came up there through Tanks area, we did a big fire drive for them up there and brought shitload of supplies and stuff up there.
Yeah,
very cool.
We did a few other big fire events. We did that drive for the hurricane down there in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, very cool.
So a lot big those kind of drives. We did recall drives like crazy for Newsom. Those frustrate people more than they help, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who were kind of black-pilled over the fact that they did all this, voter registration drives and all this, but in California, none of that matters, so it is what it is.
I'm putting out there that we are live right now, so the way everybody knows that we're live and they can come over and watch. Where did my line go? Trying to monitor if there's any comments. Here.
I'm
few comments right now. One of the guys that works for me, Billy Willis, just shared the video. So that's the one thing out here, Daryl, is everybody's pretty quiet out here. There's nobody really doing any kind of events now. That being said, there is militia groups out here and whatnot, but there's been a bunch of them that have gotten a little bit into trouble. There is one guy out here I know, I'm not going to name him, but he ended up getting fired from a job for participating in an event at the Capitol, and he actually took an effigy.
What was his job?
He was
government.
He was a head mechanic of a automotive shop.
Really?
He took an effigy of the governor. Now, most of you know that we have a blue governor here, but a red legislature. So the governor can't really do much here.
Is Kentucky a right to fire state?
It is a right to carry everything state. And yes, it is a right to fire state. We can fire anybody for any reason.
He doesn't need an excuse. He can just shit.
Yeah. So, and he's got another job now, but it's, basically what he did is he took an effigy of the governor and hung it from a tree on the Capitol grounds. So,
right on.
So they're not afraid to voice their opinion, but at the same time, they still keep to themselves unless something major happens. Now that all happened right around the time that BLM was taking over a lot of shit in Louisville, and we had the Breonna Taylor thing happened here, and BLM was taking over intersections. It all happened before I moved back, but between California and Kentucky and Alaska even, BLM and Antifa are all here. And they were shutting down intersections, dragging people out of their damn cars, robbing and looting and burning shit down here. And one of the kids I work with wasn't really involved in politics until he seen that. And he's like, you know what, screw that. He was a skater, he'd go out and skateboard and stuff. And he's a young white kid. He's like 32, 33. And he felt
I like how you say that's young.
Well, compared to us as young,
right.
He felt threatened. He didn't feel comfortable going anywhere. So, And
when was this? What year was this?
I think it was, I want to say right around 2020, right around the same time as COVID was out. It had to have been right around that time.
What about recently? Anything out of it for BLM out there?
2020, 2019, somewhere there, yeah.
No, we haven't had nothing recent. A lot of the crap that happened was because Louisville's got, if you look up, you can Google it or whatever, but Louisville is known for some of the most corrupt cops, and it's from the top down. If you look at all the crap and shit, like they won't do anything to the officers when they do something bad. And I'm all about cops, and I'm all about supporting the blue, but there's a lot of old school shit here. It's like Texas, you got old money everywhere. And
and that means the only way you fix that problem is old school. There's only one remedy to the dirty cop problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's a change in their diet. They need a little more lead in their diet. That's what they need, because that's the only thing that'll fix that problem. I'm serious. Nothing else will.
Right.
And until you make an example of that, I'm not condoning that violence, or I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying.
Right. Well,
at the level when your law enforcement is corrupt, i.e., local law enforcement, all the way up to douchebag. We all know who I'm talking about, Merrick Garland.
Oh yeah.
Once your law enforcement is corrupt, brother, you tell me. You give me an option B, because I don't know one.
Right. Well, you guys know, California is not as in your face because the whole damn setup is different. But Colorado, Jerry, when I lived out there, when I grew up in Colorado, it was primarily red, and I mean it was red,
very red.
And,
yes.
We went to
until our last Republican governor.
We went to school with guns in the back of windows of our trucks, and
yeah,
that was all, of course, that was all before Columbine. I was out there when Columbine happened, and that's whenever the shift started. That and people from Boulder started moving into Denver. That was all bad.
Well, and the generational thing with colleges, and how the progression of the teachers and the liberalization of our college institutions has progressed over from what you're talking about when me and you were in high school to where we're sitting today, where they're not afraid. Back then, they had to kind of hide what they were doing at college, but it was still there. Not nearly as prevalent as it is now. I'm going to say now 80% of college professors are liberal as can be.
Well, when we were young, Daryl, this kind of pertains to you. So when we were younger, everybody wanted to move out to California because that's where Hollywood was. That's where, everyone made millions doing recording and all that kind of stuff. So
your dreams came true.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I'm an implant from California to California from Indiana. I came out here when I was young. When I came out here, but it was a lot different back then. Growing up down there in Southern California, it was a lot different than after I got out of the Army and came back to Modesto, and things had started changing. And it was weird how it changed, because it was like creeping up on you. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about the Progressive Party. Their symbol is the tortoise.
Well,
they progressively move slowly on us, so it's a death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that's kind of how California's got where it's at, right? Between that and people not really paying attention to the little things that they're putting as writers on stuff.
Right.
They do, or California is good for putting out a thing and then changing the body of it halfway through, so when they're actually voting on it, it doesn't really reflect what the title is.
Right. Well, you guys elected, and I was kind of surprised, but he's not really a conservative. You guys elected Arnold Schwarzenegger in the last 20 years, and he didn't do much for California at all.
Well, Schwarzenegger, we really didn't elect him. He was another selected to offset at the time what they were going through with the recall of the other governor.
Right.
Davis, right? Was that when Schwarzenegger came in after recall? Remember right?
Well,
but he Schwarzenegger was bad for us, just as bad as any Democrat was. He's the one that ruined mining here in California.
Right.
Under him, they passed the prohibition, which is supposed to have been a 3-year stop on dredging, so they could do the new environmental impact studies. Right. So when the environmental impact studies were done, and they basically said that we are beneficial to the rivers, because the damming of the rivers don't allow the disturbance of the bottom for the fish to have the gullies and stuff to get in out anymore. It's all flat.
Right.
It's bad for the fish population. So dredging helps the fish, and we actually pull mercury out of the river when we're dredging, so we actually clean up the rivers from old mining days. So the study came back that we were actually kind of beneficial to the river. So the legislators decided that, well, we're not going to act on it. We're going to extend it indefinitely until we decide to let dredging happen again with no reason. The Ninth Circuit already said that yeah, technically they've gone into a prohibition, which is against federal law, because we have the right to mine on public land.
Gotcha.
But
I think California's had a habit of putting in supposed conservative presidents. They even put in Ronald Reagan back in that, late 80s or late 70s, early 80s.
They've ruined the vote here so bad with overinflated voter rolls and voter harvesting that, as a conservative party, we're always winning the night when we go to bed and we lose by the morning.
Well,
that's because they love voter harvesting, and they have a really massive voter harvesting operation for the Democrats here. A lot of money in NGOs for that here.
Right.
And
there's the key word right there, money.
Money.
Yeah.
You got to forget what's the home in Hollywood?
Mm-hmm.
All of Hollywood. I mean, in California, all of Hollywood.
Yep.
So there you have it twofold. You got Hollywood, who are 99.5% hard left liberals, and you have a union,
and about 75% pedophiles.
So
at least.
Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm on a free account right now with Zoom, so I think we get like 30 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that. So if I get an alert saying it's going to die, that's what it is. I haven't done the paid subscription yet.
Sometimes they'll let that go for a while. They'll say, "Hey, we're going to give you another free 30 minutes or something like that." I used to have a free account too for a while. So
I have paid for an account. It's just I haven't set everything up yet back to do the podcasting. I decided to do a free one today just to kind of reset my computer back up so I wasn't wasting a live. But no, we need to do this more and more. We need to get we got to get guys that are influential in the Patriot movements in different states. Daryl with you with CVP, Ghost with you in Colorado. What's going on with Mike? Is he still leading 3 Up, or is he kind of? I haven't heard anything at all from him lately.
I'll just say there is still an organization. I actually am still in contact with some of the state leaders from the old group.
Okay.
And they're all, so I'm not going to say a lot, but yes, a lot of it. No, let me rephrase. Some of it is still alive and doing very well on a much smaller scale. Mike has decided to be, how do I say it, much quieter
A little more
about
yeah.
stuff. So they're still alive and well. It operates under a completely different name, and it's completely quiet right now.
Tim Cook says hello, by the way.
That's not a choice. Who does?
Tim Cook.
Oh, okay. I just friended him on Facebook again. Him and Trish. So yeah, it wasn't a matter of hiding. It was a matter of choosing your battles. Well, and because of the precedent now in social media and the stuff, he chose not to waste a lot of time fighting stupid shit there. Right. So that's just kind of how it is.
That's kind of what we did on here in California when 3 Up kind of went under for a while. At the time I was in charge of the zone out here, and the zone we kind of withdrew off of social media.
Yeah.
Daryl, I was on the national board. So who was Lisa? Was ahead of Dusty.
Lisa Ronan.
Yeah, California was a shit show, and everybody on the board said
I was Tank's security officer.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody on the board said you'll never get California to join the group. Seriously, what was there? 7 of us at that time. 7 of us. You'll never. And then 50's like, okay, Ghost, that's your baby. Go get California. You get California hooked up. I'm like, what? Why? Why me? So actually, Lisa stepped up, and I think she did a decent enough job. Just an extremely hard position for a woman to be the leader of.
Well, California should have been, and this is from my experience, but California should have been broken up into more than just one state. And the reason I say that was because for her to travel around the state and try and get people enthused, the only way she could do it was through Facebook, and she couldn't do it. It's 8 hours from San Diego to anywhere in California.
Yeah. And the reason that we had zone leaders is so that the state leader didn't have to do that.
Right.
A zone leader was just as crucial as having a good state leader.
Well,
and what was ironic about California, when how much when Lisa started, well, I don't know that but I pushed hard. I'm like, girl, you've got to get zone leaders. And if the state needed to be broke up into different zones, that was on her, you guys, hey, we need to restructure. We've got good people here. Let's do this with the zone. Let's do this, blah, blah, blah. But I told her, if you don't have good zone leaders, that you can support, then it falls on you to
Right.
do this legwork. And I said, that's an impossible task. That is, especially in your state.
Well, we had it like so zone
But she
4.
could never. And then I started having people. They're like, because I started getting kind of pissy. If you remember, I think you were in there. I'm like, come on, people, what the hell? You know me, hard driver, fucking. Don't you see what's going on? Aren't you going to be active? It doesn't change without all you assholes stepping up. Let's go.
Right.
Somebody do something.
Well,
and then all of a sudden, I start getting all these private messages of people going, hey, bro, I'm just going to let you know nobody is ever going to get on social media and say they're going to participate in your group. It is not going to happen. People are too scared out here. And I was like, because I was in, I was still Western Colorado, so I kind of read over here still. So to build a group was very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started thinking about it. I was like, I never thought of that because there's a completely different mindset out in California with what they're battling, because the liberal, the socialism and bullshit was so much more advanced than it was where I live. And I didn't think about that. So I was like, oh man, all right, yeah. We're not going to be recruiting people over social media. We got to come up with a different way to make this work. And I know Dustin did a great job, once he took over, as long as he ran, with what you had to work with. I mean, it's a daunting task, and you almost want to look at people now that you were trying to convince them to join us for the support that we gave you. And then now, after 3.5 years of this bullshit, you want to go back to them and go, what? Do you see what I was trying to tell you now? Because they're like, oh man, God, I wish I'd have listened to you. I tried.
Well,
I tried.
California was a different beast. So we had certain zones that did really good, and then we had certain zones that were scared to death, and we had certain zones that you just couldn't get anybody to do anything. Like we had one zone that was down south, and it was like on an Indian reservation, and you never got anybody to sign up for that one. You couldn't get nobody to do nothing. And it worked out well if you had a place to actually train. It says, okay, it just says your meeting will end in 10 minutes, just FYI. So we got about 10 minutes, guys. Anyway, so what would end up happening is unless you had private ground you could train on, you legally in California, you couldn't go out dressed in fatigues. Now, Marcus's group, Marcus Wessels, he runs the 31st Legion. He gets away with it, but he does it to where he goes deep enough into the woods and shit where he's not going to get bothered, or he's got private ground he does it on. Now, you can't do it legally because they consider it a paramilitary group, and paramilitary groups are supposed to be illegal in the state of California. But we still did it. We had a place. Daryl, did you ever make it out to North Camp? You did, didn't you?
Oh yeah, a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a place that was an old. It was originally an old gun range, and they had switched it around and some stuff, and it ended up getting shut down by the state. But the owner still allowed us to go out there and do stuff, and so we were able to do anything we wanted to out there. And Marcus, my buddy from 31st Legion, he would take his group out there too. We had kind of opposite weekends, and then the owner ended up moving to Oregon, and that kind of went to shit. She sold the place, and but we had some.
We did that 2 different times in Colorado, dude. We had that place down in Colorado Springs. We put a ton of money and a ton of time in, built our shoot house, everything down there, and then he just fucking backdoored us and leased out all of his land to a cattle rancher. The next thing we're out there training, running and gunning. Here comes a dude in a pickup. He's like, what the fuck are you doing on my land? It's like, no, bro, you don't own this. He owns this. I leased it. I now own it. Get the fuck off of my land. And we're like, well, wait. And then moved to another place. That lasted a year. Same thing happened. The dude's like, I'm not comfortable with you guys being out here anymore. I'm just going to have to ask you to leave. And he went in with a backhoe and ran over our shoot house. Turned it into a gigantic, massive 2-ton pile of toothpicks. Had about $5,000 invested in that thing. So yeah, I get it. It's a bitch. No matter where you.
I don't blame Katie for selling the place. She went through one fire out there, the North Bay fires and shit, and it burnt down a bunch of stuff. Her house barely survived it. So nobody was cleaning up forestry land or anything like that in California. And every year there's fires out there. You guys had fires out there again this year, didn't you, Daryl?
Yeah, they were pretty bad down to LA and down that way. This year, and then there was a really big one out by Bakersfield, and a big one up by Redding area. If I think right.
Yeah,
But
Reading.
that's normal.
I'm surprised Reading survives. They've had some big ones in the last 3 or 4 years.
What was the town that got all burnt up where they sued the power company? What was that, a couple few years ago?
That was it was up by Reading. They lost the entire town.
Yeah, leveled the whole town.
We did a Christmas benefit for like 14 of the families. That was Paradise, I think.
Yeah, Paradise.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Ironically.
And then
that was the nation runs we did.
Yeah. So that we did a benefit for 14 families, different races, and I mean, whole gambit. And the newspaper came in and said that a racist group put on this benefit, and that was the only thing that was blurbed in the newspaper. Fucking assholes. Meanwhile, 99% of the families that we helped out were different ethnicities. So it's I don't know. There's still good people in California, and I had some people that were a little upset at me and stuff that I abandoned it, and it never was about me leaving California and abandoning people. It was about me bettering my life.
You and a lot of people, went to find somebody else. California had just, and plus, we'd gone through the mandates and everything, and psyops, and just the oppression here. I mean, just being a conservative, the courts are harder on you for it. It just, and everything we did just seemed to dead end. We just blackpilled so many people, so we're really struggling to try to get people back involved and get them back up.
Well, we'll see if doing some stuff like this will help a little bit, but
everything helps, brother. Everything helps. Any word you can spread, everything helps. We have to just keep regurgitating it, just like they do with all the lies.
Yeah, and we're starting to do rallies and events again. We got one going up to Columbia next month. We're looking at doing one in Oakdale. Rockland's got a big group up there doing a bunch of rallies up there all the time up there in the Sacramento and Rockland area. They're rocking it up there. So the Patriots movement starting to pick up here in California again. But with the loss of so many of the leadership who've all just left, it's hard to restart some of that.
Well, what we need to do, and this is what I did in Alaska, is I concentrated on trying to get in front of news reporters. You guys can do that, look like normal people, and then when you get in front of news reporters, just fucking let them have it. I don't know how many times I got interviewed in Alaska, but it was a shit ton. And basically, I'd be with a group of people, and the news would want to come up and interview somebody, and they would shove my ass up in front of them because they knew I wouldn't keep my mouth shut. And when our mayor stepped down, I fucking let him have it. It was over an affair that he had with another news reporter, and they didn't even air it because they were so embarrassed by what happened. I mean, it was like when he announced he was going to retire or he was stepping down, the building we were in went off like a fucking soccer game. It was great. So, but hey, I'm going to get off here, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on and helping me test this. We'll do it again. I'll get an account with Zoom, and then we'll be able to do longer ones. But this is a good test for everybody. It looks like it went okay. I didn't have any audio issues that I can tell.
Other than your meeting ending sign on the front of your thing, but
does anyone know Bobby V. Kim?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm bad with names, so
yeah. He signed on and he said something, but you have to go back on my live and check it out. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get off here. Thank you again. Love you both. Stay safe.
Be safe, brother.
Keep your heads on the swivel. And we got 2 more months of just nuts. So,
yeah, and they're going to get worse.
Oh, they're going to get worse, guarantee you. And you guys both live in liberal areas, so be very careful.
Every day, man.
Make sure you guys are protecting yourself when you're out away from the house.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Peace out. You guys have a great one. Thank you again.
Love you guys. I'm out.
Later.
All right. Be good. What do you think, Ghost?